Tonight kicks off Kayacht NIGHT Life. We got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Friday, we're going out fishing at night. And for that, we want to do a little something special tonight, tomorrow, and the next night. Tonight, we're going to do a couple pretty cool unboxings. Get right to it. We're going to talk about the Wizard FCS and my initial impressions. And we're going to talk about my Safari Sun order that came in. And I'm going to show you guys a couple things about that. And I got a little surprise if you stick around to the end. Let's just jump right into this. The Wizard FCS, I know everybody's been wanting it. It's been hard to get. You know, a lot of people have been able to get it by scouring the websites or talking to their local dealers. I actually got mine from Action Water Sports up in Auburndale, Florida. Same place I got my XTR 130. And David's a great guy. I asked him about it when I bought the XTR 130, and I said, if you happen to get any in, will you hold it and let me come up and I'll buy it? No problems, no questions asked. He said, Dennis, I got you covered. So thank you, David. Again, go check him out at Action Water Sports. Everybody knows that the Wizard, his name is Romel, either works for Newport or Native or Bonafide or all of them, I don't know. But he's the one that came up with that original foot controls that you guys seen on my video and my other video and yeah, 4 or 5 rambling. Let's check this thing out. Pretty slick product here. You know, the Wizard, mad props to him for coming up with this in the first place, because I certainly never thought about it. And I will say this is pretty nice. So what it looks like what they have here is maybe they powder coated it or some other kind of way, but they cut the slot nice, you know, used probably a CNC machine or something like that to get a nice even cut, you know, for all of it, nice manufacturing. And then it looks like they did the same thing for the other end right here. And I'll get a little close-ups on this. That, and then they put some end caps on this side. And this end cap is pretty cool because this is where your line is going to go through. And I haven't even looked at the instructions yet. I mean, I guess I should show you that. They come with instructions. You go there, use a little QR code, go to the site, gives you instructions on how to do this. And this is kind of the thing that everybody's been talking about is they are smooth. And this would be the port side. Now, it's interesting. It looks as if they went with the carbon steel hardware. This is kind of the one thing that I've been wondering about. As you guys know, one of the reasons why I have version 3, stainless steel and all that, is because I fish saltwater rust. Freshwater is going to rust eventually. The minerals in the water can cause chemical reactions between two different kind of metals. And so if you have like the little brass washer right up in there, and you have some carbon steel, maybe even have some stainless steel, that's going to rust over time. How long? I don't know. Take care of it, wash it, kind of dry it off when you're done using it. I think it's the best advice I can give. And it looks like one of the lessons learned that we all learned with, I think it was version 1.5 and 2 and also 3, is putting the motorcycle peg towards the top of the gantry plate. And that's what they did with this. I do like this nubby rubberized with, feels like aluminum metal. That's really nice. And then this piece right here. So this is how you can do the spin. I'm sure you guys have seen some videos on it, but if you haven't, you can add your line in here and you can add extra line and then kind of tighten it up like that. So that way you can get it exactly the right length without trying to tie knots and perfecting your knot. And then you have this, I feel like maybe it's plastic. Hold on a second. Yeah, that's plastic. I had thought this was a pot metal type cover on this, but that is a plastic cover. And you got the cool, my Wizard FCS sticker got a little rub, so let's look at the other one. And there's the Wizard FCS sticker, right side up. Yeah, so that's plastic. I didn't expect that. I'm sure it's UV rated. I hope so. Otherwise, it's going to break down a little faster than one would hope, but I don't know how to verify that other than Bonafide or Wizard, can you guys provide any feedback on whether this is UV plastic that's gonna, you know, kind of hold up over time? Maybe it's the same kind of plastic they use for the kayaks. I'm not really sure. And then this is another kind of plastic here. Hopefully the same thing, that this doesn't get too brittle. And you can see there's a couple holes here, and then there's a couple holes here, and on this side here to where your line, I guess, goes. I have not looked at the instructions yet. I haven't watched any of the videos on how to install it. I did not want my first impressions to be tainted by anything I saw. Obviously, I've done a lot with foot controls since first seeing Romel's prototype. And look, I am not speaking bad on this at all. This is very pretty. This is a nice polished product. I like the powder coating. I like the custom line tips here and here. And I really like this nubby, and I like the cover. It really does help to polish it up. As you see with my foot controls, well, hold on a second. Let's go through the rest of the box. We got 2 foot controls. You have all your mounting hardware, right? And that's, let me show you something. I do know what some of this stuff is. Again, haven't been around the foot control worlds for a few minutes. You kind of learn a little bit of things. This right here is, it slides into this little piece right here. I don't know exactly what they're using it for, but if you take this, if you take one of these end caps off, and we can do that real quick. And while I'm doing this, if you like these kind of videos, you want to learn more about foot controls or other DIYs, I am going to showcase my new DIY foot control related at the end of this video. That is going to be potentially game changing. And at least for the saltwater world. Freshwater world, I think, you know, you do something like this, you're gonna be fine. But this is definitely, I'm gonna get it out on the water and test it, but I think it's gonna rust on me after not too many trips. All right, so you see this little slide, you could put it in here, it fits the track. So it fits the little V track, and you use, maybe this is a stopper, so if you don't wanna go too far, you have the stopper. And it looks like for these, you'd use one of these screws or this little screw. I'll have to look. Oh no, that little screw was for the end cap. So yeah, put one of these little screws in here, put it in here, and then you can create a stopper. Kind of like I had a stopper on version 1, but then I kind of abandoned it because I didn't really need it. With the NK300, it wants to stay true. It wants to go forward. I can't say it. Well, no, I have tested it. So yeah, it still wants to go true. I did away with the stopper, but this is another genius idea there, Romel, for having this in here and using that as a stopper versus the little plunger kind. Right. Oh, you also get these. Now, if you don't know what these are, when you drill your hole into your kayak, oh, I almost showed it too early. When you drill your hole into your kayak and you have your line come through it, it's going to go through one of these on either end. And that's just a little through hole grommet. And again, you got your mounting hardware. So you should have 4 screws like this. And I have 4 screws like that. And you should have 4 grommets. So 4 stainless steel. There's like about 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches. 4, and they're 1/4 because that's what, you know, goes into where your existing foot control go. Then you have 4 of the little ones. Looks like it's for running the line and also the stopper. And then, yeah, so the 4 grommets, and then you should have 2 of the stoppers or other line guides. I'm thinking it's a stopper too. Maybe it's a double purpose. And then we got the Spectra line. This Spectra line is really nice. So this is what comes with some of the other foot controls you get from Native or Bonafide Big Adventures, if you will. And it's really nice. I actually still have some of this from previous builds. I don't use this when I'm doing my DIY R&D because it is really nice. This is like the best Spectra cord you can get. I got some of the cheaper Spectra cord off of Amazon. Speaking of Amazon, I'm going to put links in all of my videos that have any of the parts that I do for a DIY. They are affiliate links. So if you want to help the channel out so I can continue doing DIYs, click on those affiliate links, buy your parts from Amazon if you don't have a better price somewhere else. And that will help out the channel so I can continue doing some of these DIYs. But this Spectra cord is a little bit thicker and it's not quite as smooth. This is high quality Spectra line. If you need any Spectra line because you're doing something and you mess it up, you can buy this from Native, Big Adventures, Bonafide. I always say Native because that was my first Kayacht Tight Necks. That's where I started my foot control journeys. All right, that is the Wizard FCS foot control unboxing. And this is the patent pending steering by Wizard, Romel. And this is, yeah, that's the QR code. I'm gonna go check that out after this, see how much of this I got right. And yeah, oh yeah, a little bit thicker gantry plate than what you saw in version 1 or 2. I think it's pretty close. Yeah, it's pretty close to a 1/4 inch or maybe even a little hair over. That's what I use on the stainless steel with the aluminum plate. Now, talking about foot controls and DIYs, I do have a new foot control to unveil. But first, I want to show something else. On Friday night, we are going fishing out in Tampa Bay area at night. Full moon, blood moon, orange moon, worm moon, whatever you want to call it. That's Friday night. So my boy Javi's coming. He's also featured in one of my upcoming videos, which is a on the water review tandem edition. He and I went out before I got the flu and we went all around Tampa Bay and stuff, and we did some fishing. We got on some trout, some ladyfish, and we had a really good time. But the gist of that video was let's test out the tandem setup. Why I wanted to mention Friday night and the tandem and the blood moon, orange moon, and all that stuff is because we're going live. Friday night, Kayacht Night Life flights. Yeah, something like that. All right, and I have a surprise. I got my Safari Sun order with my new hats and t-shirts. I don't know if you've seen this hat color before, but look at this baby. I am very partial to these colors and this hat, as you can tell. I've been wearing this one a lot since I got it on vacation last year. So you can see I have my mean snook up here, Captain Kayacht Fish, whatever we want to call him. And I got this Carolina blue one, I guess. Pretty slick. And then I got this one. This is the Real Tree Fishing Edition hat. And this one will be going to one of my lucky viewers. I'm going to give this away live on Friday night while we're out on the water. I'm going to do a test tomorrow night. That's the Thursday night live, right? I'm going to do a live test. Join me around 8:30, and we can preview how it works and all that. Maybe I can answer any questions if you have any about, what modifications I'm doing for the trip, because I am doing some modifications on that. And we can just test it out, make sure everything works. And barring any technical difficulties, Friday night at around 8:30, depending on when the moon actually gets up in the air. I got to look at the schedule. I'll mention that tomorrow. But I'm going to give this to one of the viewers. Hopefully one of y'all want it because it is a pretty slick hat, if I do say so myself. And then, all right, I have to give mad props to Safari Sun. I had a little bit of an issue with my shirt. I wasn't 100% thrilled with how it came out. And they sent me an email and they were like, hey, review it. And I didn't contact my person. I just put some notes in there. And next morning I wake up and they're like, hey, we're going to fix that for you. Sorry that it didn't come out exactly how you had planned. There's some like opacity issues, sometimes with like little blurry things. And I had a blur all the way around it, unlike on the hats, which look great. So thank you, Safari Sun, for that. And one of the cool things, though, is they were like, not only are we going to make it look how you want, you can keep the versions that we already sent you. So I have a few extra unexpected Kayacht Life shirts. And let me explain what I didn't like. And it's not that it's horrible, but it wasn't my vision. Is that the black outline all the way around is a lot thicker and darker than what I had anticipated. So I'm getting a new batch sent to me without that. So we are going to be giving away Kayacht Life t-shirts. Donating them? No. That was one of my options. But giving them to one of my viewers. I will put some information on that. I have a medium, a large, and an extra large. Comment below if you want to win this hat or you want one of these t-shirts. Let me know if you're even interested in them. And I will put out how I'm going to do that. It may be on Friday night as well. So it may be tomorrow night. So you want to come back. So if you see this, make sure you're back here tomorrow night, 8:30. Same thing on Friday night, 8:30. We'll solidify the times before the live goes out, and I'll post it on Facebook. I'll post it on the YouTube community, and I'll post it on Instagram as well. Make sure you come back for all that. And now, since you guys have been patiently waiting on this whole night, I've been talking a lot. I've been known to do that. Let's talk about this new foot control. This new foot control, I'm giving a sneak peek early because, to be honest with you, it is very hard to edit out of all my videos. I spent so many hours on the On the Water review video just editing out these foot controls. So much so that I had to change some of the quality of and zoom in on certain areas in the video and cut pieces out because the magnetic mask. I use Final Cut Pro to edit these, and the magnetic mask was working pretty good, but it wasn't. Every time I went back and thought I had it all, it was still there. And the reason I was like, oh, well, I don't want to show it because much like the first set of foot controls, I was going through a lot of different tests, and as I tested it, and then I talked with people and I thought about things, tested it, thought about it, tested that. It shifted and it evolved, and we had version 1, version 2, version 3, version 1.5, all that good stuff. And people were buying things, and I was like, hey, sorry, a lot of the parts are still valid, they still work, and they still, especially if you're in freshwater, it's going to last longer than for me. The version 1s, they lasted about 2 trips before they started rusting for me. And so, but I didn't realize it was rusting because I was doing other tests and things like that. I didn't want that to be the case for this set of foot controls. And I didn't want you guys just going out buying whatever you thought the pieces are, because there's still R&D going on. There's still research and tests and all that good stuff. That said, I will show you the foot controls. And you can Google around and see what you think a lot of these parts are and what the materials are. And you might be right on a lot of it, but you're not going to be right on all of it. Unless you're a chemical engineer, which I happen to know one who is a PhD, and he's the one that gave me the idea for this. Well, we talked about it. So I went to my chief scientist and I said, hey, I need something that is super slick, super durable, but is not super expensive. And he is a PhD with a specialty in saltwater and lots of super technical terms I don't know about. And he just happens to be married to my daughter. So, I kind of get scientist stuff for free. So thank you, Kayacht son-in-law. Anyways, he helped me pick this out, the material. It is pretty awesome. But I'm not going to tell you what the material is today because I don't want you to go buy it. Because I want to do a few more tests. I think this is going to be ready for sign off of approval within the next month or two. And then I'll put out the parts list like I do. And again, you can hit that affiliate link and give me some money to make the next version of foot controls. But let's get to it now. This is a lot of hard work, guys. Boom. It doesn't look like much, right? And that's okay, because my R&D products, much like the first foot controls from the Wizard, you work on function and form, and then you polish it up after you get everything just right. I actually never made a final version of my foot controls version 3, and then I sold the Native Titan X, and Greg was like, "Hey, I want the foot controls," and I was like, "Well, I actually only made one side because I was always testing 2 different versions." I was like, "But you know what? You drove from Georgia. I'm gonna make you some foot controls." I got in the garage, in the lab, and started making those, and I got them a set. Again, a little more polished than what I have, but not as polished as my final products will be once I finish all my testing. Now, what this is right now is even this. This is a Yak Gadget riser mount that I just threw onto a Yak Attack Mighty mount and attached it to my slide, right? And the cool thing about this is it is very quiet and it's very slippery. It's self-lubricating. And this is a chrome covered carbon steel, which I don't like carbon steel. Everybody knows that. But it is chrome plated like a lot of marine items are. And so far, if I wipe this down and clean it, and when I get back, it hasn't rusted. This has been on the salt water for probably 6 hours of first time and another 6 hours the second time, and there is no rust. I do have to replace some of the hardware and the endpoints, but I'm testing not only the length of the block, I'm testing the length of the slide rail, and I'm testing the diameter of the slide rail, and I'm also going to be testing different metals to see how the block slides on it. And I don't know if you noticed this, though, I reused the foot controls that come with Bonafides, the XTR, and I just flipped it upside down and I mounted to that, which is pretty cool because I can flip it back out and just go back to the original. There's just 2 little holes. And this is very solid. I have, like I said, it handled, you heard me talk about it in the On the Water review. It did great. It did as good as the stainless steel side, which, can you hear that? Can you hear that? Much, much less noise. So that's awesome. It has the main part is, it is rust proof. It doesn't rust. And it's self-lubricating. And it withstands the different elements. And what I'm going to do, much like the Romel's foot controls here, we are going to find, I've already started talking to people. We're going to find a good material to build a fancy polished cover for this so that it's something like this. I mean, this is slick looking. This is nice looking. I want this to be nice looking like this when it's said and done. I'm going to have mine as a DIY. I don't even know how to go about patent pending stuff. Maybe future DIYs and adventures will do that. Maybe somebody from Bonafide or maybe the Wizard can give me some pointers on how to patent pending stuff. I know you file for a patent, but I've never done any of that. I'm just a at-home dude. And yeah, and then we're gonna either do one of 2 things with the foot controls on or the foot pegs, pads, whatever. You've seen some people do it already. Some people have mounted their what do you call it? Footrest. I guess it's like this. They mounted it to the wheeled ones, right? The DIY version 1, 2, or 3. They mounted this to it, and you can do that. You can screw it on, and you just have to get it like just the right width and wherever you're going to mount it to. I was thinking about that, and it's pretty cool. I like that idea. I just have to, it's one of the things about the foot controls, even at this width, when you're coming down off of the casting pad where, the platform, you gotta be careful. You might catch your heel on it, and same thing with this side, and I'm imagining those as well. So you want, you know, kind of push them up. Well, if it's super slick, it might just slide back down if you're on some, you know, wakes and stuff. And if you think about this, look how big that is. That's a lot more space that you really just have to, I want it to be compact. That's why I went with the folding motorcycle pegs for my version of, you know, Romel's original foot controls. And I like that because then I could really get it to be really small. And, you know, he had the nubby ones, which they do look really slick. But that's why I want to keep it folded in. I do want to reuse as much of the original hardware as possible. So I will at least make a version that reuses this and reuses the mounting plate like I have here, and then just uses the bare minimum slider that we need. And that's what is still being, I guess, research is how long does this have to be before, or short can it be before we lose performance, before it starts binding or whatever. This right here is, I mean, it has spun. All right, I'm rambling. Let's get this night over with. This is night one of Kayacht Night Life. You have stuck with me through the Wizard FCS. You stuck with me through our upcoming giveaways. And you've stuck with me talking about what's happening this Friday. And I want to thank you for that. Yeah. We got a lot of work to do before Friday. Let me know what you think about the new foot control prototype. And again, you might be able to figure it out. If you can, just give a little shout out. Be like, hey, yeah, I was over on Kayacht Life, saw that he had these new, whatever these plastic things are. And so I did some digging and I found out that I think it's this. And I'll even tell you if you're right after I put out my final version. So see y'all later. See you tomorrow night.